Guys, I'm gonna let you in on a secret. I've been creating content for about 4 years and I use about 5 tools, and I have for the past 4 years to create content and get the job done. And I am now able to make a full-time living off of this job, out of this creator path. And I'm gonna tell you the tools you actually need to get started to capture and film your content. And it's not a lot. I will tell you, it's very simple, not very complicated, but that is how I like it. And that has been the actual thing that has been the most effective. While I still have like a handful of accessories that I use for different occasions or for different settings, like the main tools I use are very simple, and I think most people only really need like a camera, some good lighting, and honestly a mic is just a bonus, and then really your tripod. But I'm gonna show you sort of my whole setup, everything I use in all of these different situations and what you can use getting started with content. This is stuff that takes less time because I feel like I'm an intermediate techie, so like I can understand how to work things, but if it's too complicated or it's taking too long, I will not use it, and I will not want to set it up every single time I film, which is almost every day these days. And I've been getting some questions on how I film my content and what I use to create my content. So I'm going to run through all of it today and hopefully give you the basic essentials of what you need while I share my collection, and also give you some honest opinions on how I feel about these tools and why I use them, when I use them, and things I might be gravitating towards more in the future and why. And in this video, I'll really just talk about the production part, but there's going to be separate videos on the other two because they're whole things. And I honestly will probably endlessly be making content on content strategy and editing because they're a big part of the process, and it's a lot to take in and it's a lot to execute. So I feel like those deserve a little bit more attention in the long run. Speaking of post-production though, Riverside has just come up with this co-creator tool that I think is super interesting for creators who are editing their own content, don't have time, don't really have coworkers or people around them to help give ideas or just think things out loud. Not only does it include AI, so it just makes everything so much faster, it is groundbreaking in the fact that you don't have to be alone making all the decisions or thinking of everything yourself when it comes to post-production. It's basically an AI powered chat that lives inside your recording projects. So that basically means you have like an assistant, kind of like a VA as you're editing, instead of having to like hire out or ask your friends and coworkers a bunch of questions about how they like the video or going to ChatGPT for a bunch of ideas. It basically knows as much as you do, which is really helpful because it has all the context. You can literally ask it to pull short clips from your video, write social captions for you, and generate thumbnails, which is a huge time block, especially when you're done with your video and you're out of brain power. This is super helpful. You can even turn that video into a blog post or newsletter. And if you're someone like me who runs a one-person business or has something else other than content, this is really helpful to repurpose content so you're not spending extra time rewriting, redoing the same thing. You still have full creative control. You can tweak, you can edit. It just really helps you get a head start instead of feeling overwhelmed by all the things you have to do. This is really good for podcasters, marketers, creators of any kind, just anyone trying to make the most out of the content they already have. So if you want to save yourself some time, use the link in the description and you can try Riverside for free, or you can also get 15% off your paid plans. I use the pro plan so I get access to a lot of features like this. Let's get into the rest of my toolkit. Of course, I'm going to start off with the most obvious part, cameras. Cameras are the main moment because they just capture the content, and they really do capture the look and feel of the content. I think that most people can start off with an iPhone. I actually have 2 iPhones. This is not necessary. I spent most of my content creator career using this iPhone 13 Pro Max. It's kind of cracked a little bit, but this is the phone I use to film all of my TikTok content, sometimes even my YouTube content, because honestly, the stabilization on iPhones are really good. They're much better than DSLR cameras, depending on the one that you get, but they're much better than the Canon. If you have the Canon G7X, the stabilization, in my opinion, is horrible, meaning it is very shaky when you're moving the camera around. So using your iPhone to get B-roll, I think is a great idea, and honestly, even A-roll, because it looks really clear. iPhone quality is getting better and better every year with the new phones, and I think it's good enough. I think people overlook that a lot. So I will say that the iPhone 13 Pro Max has been an essential tool for my content creator journey. I've had it for this long and I don't plan on getting rid of it. This is sort of like my personal phone, but then I have my business phone, which I did upgrade to an iPhone 16 Pro Max, and I did not get this to make it more fancy. I got this really for personal reasons so that I could separate my work from play, and I might as well get the latest edition out there because I will use this phone to capture content, so I might as well just get the highest quality one. And I will say that even though I like how nice and sleek it is and it's new and it's easy to use, and they have like cool little buttons like this one on the side where you can capture content using the side angle, I kind of actually like the quality of my iPhone 13 because I feel like it just looks better. I actually was filming some content for TikTok and everyone was asking, what I was using to film this series, and it was an iPhone 13. It wasn't mine, it was actually my fiance's because this one ran out of space, which is another reason I upgraded. I wanted to get one that had 2 terabytes so I don't run out of space. I have so much content and people love the quality. I love the quality. And sometimes with this one, you have to figure out the settings that are best. I'm gonna put my iPhone 13 Pro Max camera settings because there's some settings that I use to really like get this look. I always do 4K, 60 frames per second. I feel like for a video, it just makes everything look nice and slow and dewy. Not me describing a clip as dewy. Wow. But it just looks really cool. It looks really like nice and like almost cinematic in my opinion. And then for this one, I'm still figuring out the settings that I love, but I will put the settings that I put for my camera here, just in case you were interested in how to capture something that looks really good all the time. Then of course we have the infamous Canon G7X. This is the vlogging camera that everybody is talking about on TikTok, everywhere. I have had this camera for so long. It was my first YouTube camera and I still have it and I still use it. I really enjoy this camera. It gives sort of like that movie feeling to me. Right now I'm using a Sony to film this, so I'm not using this camera right now, but I do love it for particular settings. To me, it just feels like a vloggy camera. It kind of gives like that warmer, softer look. I do have particular settings on this camera, but I will just say cheat sheet. I use the portrait mode. I don't really try to do any manual settings myself. I really like going for just like a soft, clean look, no action shots, no nothing. I typically am filming sit down videos even when I'm vlogging. And then when I'm vlogging, I just like to like hold the camera. So I don't really like to do a lot of like tricks and movements and things like that. These days I've been using them more for vlogs because I use my Sony more for sit down videos. I just like the look. It looks a little bit more professional and it's a little bit more, I would say crispier in terms of like, you can see all the features on someone's face. You can see everything going on. I really like the Sony one for thumbnails. But this one is just really good for like a good wholesome vlog. I feel like this is nice, or a good wholesome sit down chat. It's a little bit more smoother without having a smoothing effect and it gets the job done. I have this case from Amazon, does pretty good because otherwise it was just getting dinged up. And with this one, you basically put in your SD card here and then you have your battery. I just bought some battery packs on Amazon. I think it came with batteries because I got like the whole kit. You can also buy additional accessories. I got this battery charger, additional one because it already comes with one, but I got an additional one and then I got some additional batteries to go with the camera because the camera battery dies really fast. That might just be all camera batteries. If you're filming long footage, you definitely need a couple because you would just have to stop and charge every single time, which is very annoying. The last camera I use, which I recently just got not too long ago, like a year ago, so most of my career I was just using my iPhone and Canon G7X, is the Sony ZV-1F. It's sort of like the beginner vlogger camera for Sony. I love Sony cameras. I think they're honestly the best in terms of quality. It makes things really look good, crispy, clean, and I really like this camera. Again, like I mentioned, it just like elevates the footage and elevates the look a little bit, and the thumbnails eat. Like I will say, it kind of automatically ups the exposure. Just like the base settings are just like more exposed than the Canon. The Canon tends to be a little bit darker in terms of like when you're moving things around, or if the lighting isn't great, that camera will not help you out. Like you will have to either manually adjust it yourself or it'll look pretty dark. But this camera right now, even though I am sitting in front of a window, it is relatively dark in this apartment and it just kind of gives a natural exposure. I will drop my settings for my Sony as well. I've played around with a few. There's like things that I like, some things I don't like. I don't use the blur because I just don't like how it looks. I think it looks a little too fake, but I know some people like the blur feature. And then I think I keep this one on a certain mode, the auto settings that basically like keep it balanced for you. I am happy with it so far. For most settings, it gets the job done for me. What I will say, as opposed to this camera, there are like ports for you to hook things up. So you can hook up mics like I'm doing with this Rode adapter and with this Rode mic. I'm able to like plug in sound. I'm able to plug it up to my computer. I feel like with this Canon, unless I'm just like silly and I have not figured out how to hook things up, there are no other like ports. I think it has like an HDMI and I think that's about it, but it does not have anything where you can hook up sound. I think it does have a flash that's really cool. Like if you turn it on, it does have that little flash thingy, which I don't think this camera has. I think you would have to attach it. This one just like automatically comes with one. I will say I like this one because it has more ports. This one has a jack for like headphones and like mics like this, and it has Bluetooth and an HDMI. So I really like this camera for that reason, and I feel like it's just nicer when you add lenses to it. Like you can add a lens and it'll look really professional, which I might upgrade and get a lens later. I've been fishing around for lenses that I like, and honestly just cameras, and I might just upgrade to a Sony ZV-E10, I believe. That's the one I see all of the professional YouTubers using, and it looks like a movie when they film, and I really like that because I kind of want to get into like not cinematic videos and stuff like that, but just like upgrading in the storytelling, and I feel like that'll assist, but it's not required, if that makes sense. So that's honestly what I use for cameras. Like I don't really use anything else. And the next thing is sound. So first off, if I didn't have mics, I would just use normal sound, and I really did for most of my career just use the sound automatically from the device. So with my Canon, I would just not have anything hooked up. With this camera, I didn't have anything hooked up, and with my iPhones, I just left it as usual, and then I would use other tools to like enhance it or remove background noise if I needed to. Riverside also has some really good tools for fixing your audio in post-production. So that's kind of what I used, and it really worked out. I mean, having a mic was just a bonus add, but I will say I do love how it sounds in terms of storytelling, in terms of like just like the customer experience when you do have a mic. So I really do like these Rode mics for that reason. I'm using them right now. You can hear the sound. There is a sort of like adapter. I don't know what it's called, but it plugs into the device that you're using, and then this is the mic that you hold, the wireless part, but it's the Rode Wireless Go 2. So the pack I got comes with 2 of these, and I use them for podcasts on the go or when I'm filming a video, and I just wanted to feel a little bit more enhanced. Like I just wanted to make it feel really good, and I think once you start using it, you kind of get addicted to it, so you might just keep using it, but you don't have to. I do really like this mic. The only con I will say is that turning on this little adapter thing takes forever, but turning on these mics are really easy. Like you have to hold the button down for so long for the adapter to turn it on and off, and I've been seeing that this is a problem people face, so that's the only thing I don't like about it. I have been looking at the one that's more of like a circle and it just sits on your shirt. I like holding it closer to my mouth so I really get that crispy sound, but you can also clip it. You can clip it to your shirt, but you probably are not hearing me as good, and depending on your shirt it might be a little floppy. But it does come with all of these materials. At least the pack that we got came with a lot of cords, so you can charge not only this but the other mic that comes with. So we got 2. You can charge this one and you can charge the adapter thing with these cords, and then this allows you to plug it into things like a phone. And then what I have plugged into my camera right now is sort of the jack to jack, because my camera only has a jack that you can plug in. But if you had a device that had like a lightning bolt or like USB-C, you would use this or something like this. This is for my iPhone 16 because it's a USB-C to USB-C. My iPhone 16 only has a USB-C. So you can get different wires that go into your different devices. And then I always have some kind of little poof just to prevent the sound and the constant like noises your mouth makes when you're talking. Poofs are really necessary because I tried this without it and it does not sound good. I also, for my podcasts, have these bigger Rode mics, which I use for real sit down podcasty videos. I don't typically use that on a day-to-day, so I didn't include it in this video, but I will link it if you're interested in sort of like a podcast looking or podcast style mic. It's like this Rode mic, but it's an actual microphone. The quality is really good. I think it's pretty affordable for people who are just beginning podcasting or who just want the vibe. Again, not required, but I do like the look of it, and I do like the feel when my fiance and I both sit down to do our podcast and we want more of that like podcast look and feel. But sometimes we also use these mics, and we're probably gonna have to use this when we travel. So these kind of get the job done as well. The question I get the most is, where the hell do I store all of this footage? That is probably the most complicated part about being a creator, is figuring out where to store all of your footage and just like having a organized system, because things get all over the place if you're not on top of it. Like I have literally on my calendar like an event to clear out my desktop, put everything on my solid state drives, or clear my SD cards, because the most annoying thing is kind of like when you're filming on your iPhone to see like a out of storage, is to kind of see that your SD card is full, or that when you're editing you can't find files because they're not on your computer. It is such a mess, and it's something I'm still navigating towards, but these are a few things that I use in terms of storage, because you will need to store a lot of footage, and depending on if you're working with brands or if it's just a video that got deleted or or something weird happens, you want to have backups of all of your footage just in case anything happens. Right now I use this Seagate SSD, which is a solid state drive. It basically just has a ton of storage in here for you to store your content and store your footage. This is basically what it looks like, and it just has a plug that you can use to plug into your computer or wherever you're editing or wherever you're transferring files into. This has like an interesting, I don't know what kind of port this is, but this part is what plugs into the solid state drive. And then this is a USB. This has 2 terabytes, which I think is more than enough for a beginner content creator. As you start getting more and more content, of course, you might need to upgrade to more or just get additional drives. This still holds all of my content ever since I've been filming content. Of course, I've been more consistent over the past few years, so that's where it's starting to get heavy, but it's still not used up. I think I've only used up like 200 gigabytes, which is really good. So one of these should suffice, but I do think I might switch to a lacy only because this cord is weak, or maybe I should just get another cord. But every time I plug it into my computer and just say the footage is not on my computer, it's only on this drive, and this cord is being funky and finicky, my computer thinks that the content is not attached anymore, and I don't know why that happens because it's still plugged in. So that's kind of annoying, because while I'm editing and I don't want to transfer all of the footage to my computer, I want my computer to still recognize that it's plugged in and that it has access to these files. I'm hoping with a lacy that won't happen, but you guys let me know. That is the main thing you'll need for storing your footage. You can also get just like an SD card and put your footage on there. I got this little tool on Amazon so that I could do this on my phone, or I could do this with a computer. So you can plug this basically into your phone and then put your SD card in here, and basically if you're editing on your phone or doing anything on your phone, you can plug in the SD card that you used and put all your footage in, and then it goes into your phone, and you can like edit on your phone if you just don't want to transfer again all the footage into your phone or into your device directly, and you just want to like basically edit with the SD card in, and that's like pretending that the footage is on your phone, but it's not. You can also just use this as something to transfer content from your SD card to your computer or to your iPad or whatever. So I really love this device for this reason. But that's another option if you're more of like a phone content person than like a computer content person. I'm kind of more of like a desktop computer content person. But speaking of SD cards, this is my little SD card pack. I have accumulated a few over the years. It's a little messy right now, but these are all of my SD cards. I think I have about like 4 in total, or maybe 5, including the one that's in the camera right now. But I just use this little holder to keep all of them safe and in sort of like a container so they don't fall out, because losing an SD card is the actual worst. I have a couple of 256 gigs, a couple of 64, and a couple of 128s, just because I have over the years realized I need to keep going up and up and up because they don't hold as much. Like the 64 gig just wasn't working because I would constantly have to clear out my SD card. But I would just recommend getting a big size, because then you don't have to constantly worry about like the SD card being full. SanDisk is a popular brand. You can get these ones. I honestly think this one is fine. I also have some from Samsung. I think these are also fine. Like I don't really have a preference. It's like whatever holds the storage for me. Just having some kind of container, even if you have ones like this, which I think this one just like came with the SD card when I bought it on Amazon. These are also good just to protect your SD card. Another obvious tool is just Google Drive, like storing this on your Google Drive if you have more storage there. But for me, that would still be way too much to store it in Google Drive or like the cloud on Apple. I would just prefer putting it into a solid state drive that can hold this footage, and I can just make it portable and use it anywhere I am, especially as I'm going to be traveling. So let's end off with some accessories that honestly are small but mighty. Like they make a difference in how your content comes out. One of my favorites, and probably the most obvious, is you need a tripod. So I have this one here that really does only have an attachment for a phone, and it looks like futuristic. Like no one can really tell what it is. I like how discreet it looks. It's aesthetic. It just like matches the vibe, and I can just set it up in my office like this, and it doesn't really like throw anything off. You basically press the bottom and then the legs come out, and then you're able to open it like this, open it up a little bit. It does have a little remote that I can't find at the moment. I think it's like somewhere in my stuff. I'm in the process of moving, but that's what you can use to take photos without having to physically like press the record button or picture button on your phone. It extends pretty tall. I don't know exactly how many feet. I want to say like 5 feet, and it kind of gets most of the angles I need. Sometimes I do have to prop it up on a box or something to get a higher angle, or like on a table to get like more of that 0.5 like wide lens angle. angle, but for the most part, it gets all of the angles I need. I actually have two. I have one, which is like my DSLR camera tripod, which is the one that my camera is currently sitting on. You can adjust the levels, the heights, like it's really easy, and you can kind of fix the positioning of the camera. So it can be like front facing, down facing, side facing. I like my DSLR one because you can adjust it with the screws, with the clips. It's really easy to screw on the camera. I really have no complaints, and it does have a little extender, sort of like a attachment for a phone, but I just like it personally for my DSLR. I will say the con with my DSLR tripod and kind of with my regular tripod for my phone, you can see the base. I hate that sometimes, like with certain angles, you can kind of see the legs of the tripod, which really bothers me, which is why I might upgrade to this one, which I've seen on social media, on TikTok, on Instagram, people have made videos and they're facing the camera all the way down. Like it's facing, basically if the camera was facing flat like this, you would not see the legs. They're a little bit more heavy duty, but I think it's because it can get all of these angles without showing the legs or the body of the tripod. Again, more cinematic storytelling vibe, but that's something I want to like work up towards. It's not super necessary for a face to camera or just showing off some B-roll. Just some other random tripods and stabilizers. I have this one. I think I got it from Amazon. I'm pretty sure this actually came with my Canon G7X, like a part of the creator bundle. It's from Photo Pro UFO Basic. This one has like kind of like weird legs, like you can bend them. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm like bending the leg in different positions, and it's just really flexible and versatile if you need to stand it up. But sometimes it's a little too versatile to where like you can't get everything at the same exact shape, so it kind of gets annoying. And it kind of acts as my like cheap little gimbal. Gimbal is just what kind of stabilizes things while you are filming. And then I also have this one from Movo. This one is like a tripod slash gimbal slash stand slash everything, and this is again more for my phone. This one extends and it's really easy to get like a desk shot, or sometimes like these just like weird shots like in my kitchen, or if I really want to just like go face to camera, like lean on the counter. Like this is really good for those where I don't really need height, I just need something to hold my phone and stabilize it while I'm talking. And it has this little attachment, so you can attach your phone in here and you can adjust it using this knob and just like moving the legs. So I really like these two for stabilizing, holding phones, tripods of any sort. And then another one of my favorite accessories is a clip light. You've probably seen these if you're on TikTok. This one is from New Moa. This one is pretty popular. I couldn't find it on Amazon, so I'm probably going to link a different brand, but this one is just something that brightens up your lighting. I don't really need it now because I'm in the sunlight, but if it's dark, and honestly in the sunlight, especially if you're doing like makeup shots, like this is really cute and like gives you that extra glow, and it gets really bright. Like this is the highest, and then you can lower the brightness, but you just need these little $10 clips and it makes it look like you have really professional lighting. So even a couple of these can really do the job. I'm sure by now you've seen all of those suction cases or sticky things for you to just like get content whenever like you're on the go. I used to have a suction like OctoBuddy back in the day, but I wasn't really using it enough. Like it was helpful, but it wasn't like that strong to where it could stick to everything or captured all the angles I really wanted to get. So I kind of just pivoted to getting this. This I actually have no idea what it's called, but it's sort of like a magnet that will attach to hard surfaces or any like flat surface. So you basically attach the suction part to any flat surface and it should make this sound once it's attached. And then this magnet area is for your phone. So you basically attach your phone here, attach this to any surface. It doesn't really stick onto walls or anything that doesn't have like a hard backing to it, but for tables, for like windows, this is really good if you want to get like angles and shots that just a tripod couldn't achieve. But the only caveat is that your phone needs to have like no case or some sort of like MagSafe something so that it can actually attach to the magnet. I just take the phone case off and use it. And I just have this because it's super portable. So I can just take my case off. If I'm like out at the store or at a restaurant, I could just stick this to anything and it's good to go. This is super cheap on Amazon, and they have it even cheaper on TikTok Shop if you wanted. And they have the ones that are more like 3D, so they can kind of like stretch or expand on TikTok Shop. So you can get multiple angles and you don't only have to use your front camera, because that's the annoying part of this. You can only really use your front camera. And this is one of my favorite mics that I used back in the day before I had a professional Rode mic. It's an Amazon mic that honestly you can get for like $20 $15. I got this one from Mana Solutions, and it has a little case, and it basically just has a cute little clip mic that you can use with Bluetooth. You just hook it up to your phone, or you can plug it into your phone using their port here and the port on your phone, and then it comes out with like better audio. It's not quite as crispy as a Rode mic, but it's crispier than just you speaking directly to the camera. What it really does is just isolates your voice and kind of removes background noise. And I think because it has this little cushion on the mic, it's able to do that. But it's not, again, as professional as like the podcast sounding mics or like a Rode mic or DJI, but it is something that can upgrade the quality. Or if you just want to switch it up and be fun and like have, you know, a little mic in your video, and it's pretty aesthetic. And then in here, it has some chargers and accessories to go with it. And I love that it comes with a little case and it's super affordable. That is all of the equipment I use. That is everything I use on a day-to-day. Really doesn't get more complicated than that. If you guys have any questions on any of the equipment or Riverside, drop them below. Be sure to use the promo code in the description if you want some money off of your plan, off of your paid plan on Riverside, and you want to try out the co-creator tool. I'm looking forward to the content you create and you becoming a full-time creator too. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next video. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.